Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, a weekend fire in Victoria leads to an arrest, and it's not just arson on the list of charges. The next step in the possible transfer of UHV to the Texas A&M system is happening right now. What's at stake for students and the community? We'll have the latest. And millions could soon feel the impact as a major change to federal student loan collections takes effect.
Watching thunderstorms in the Crossroads region, one near Hallettsville that was had a warning for Hallettsville earlier, and that's now expired. Moving to the east. More storms again tomorrow? Yes, we'll take a look at that possibility coming up in your forecast.
And after beginning their season in a big way by sweeping Columbus, we hear from the Goliad Tigers before they take on Hondo in the second round, coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Shauna Curry is off tonight. A Victoria man is accused of arson, among other charges. Victoria police were called to help the fire department with a structure fire in the 1500 block of North Laurent Sunday morning. Their investigation showed the cause of the fire to be arson. Officers then arrested 49-year-old Tim Cano on a charge of arson, as well as criminal trespass and possession of a controlled substance. The next move in a possible UHV transfer to the Texas A&M University system is on the House floor right now. House Bill 5150, the bill transferring the University of Houston Victoria to the A&M system, is on the list to be heard on the House floor. It was scheduled to be heard last Friday, but due to a weather alert, the House of Representatives adjourned for the day. At last check, the bill is the next one to be heard on the House floor. The bill was laid out to the House by State Representative District 30 A.J. Louderback on April 15th. The State Senate already passed the bill for transfer. If the House passes it, then it will go to Governor Greg Abbott for his signature. This week is National Hurricane Preparedness Week. The National Weather Service wants to help you be ready before the next tropical system strikes. Each day this week, the Weather Service will be focusing on different topics to help people know their risks and how to be ready for them. Today's theme is wind and water. Storm surge is water that is pushed toward the shore. Flooding from a hurricane is proven to be very deadly. Hurricane force winds can cause damage to homes and other buildings and can cause tornadoes. More rain in the Crossroads. Let's go to Trey Mining with the first look at the forecast. And we got some rain last night, got some rain today. Our streak is continuing here.
Certainly is, yes. We're having more rain chances coming up next couple of days. First things first, had a warning earlier for Lavaca County and the city of Hallettsville, and that has now expired. The storm has weakened, moving toward Columbus as we speak. We want lingering rain showers there in Luling and south of about Hallettsville or so. And beginning to wind down a little bit from west to east across the Crossroads. Be a pretty quiet night. Revving up again for tomorrow. More storms in the forecast. We'll take a look at that coming up in your full forecast. Don?
Thank you, Trey. Texas officials claim that school funding is at an all-time high, but that ignores inflation and temporary federal money. To use the Texas Tribune's address lookup tool to see what share of your school district's funding comes from federal, state, and local sources, come to our website, crossroadstoday.com. Collection of defaulted federal student loans resumed today after a 5-year pandemic pause. The government warns defaulting now can lead to garnishment of wages or benefits. They could take your wages or benefits to pay off those student loans. The Education Department says 5 million borrowers have defaulted and 4 million are at least 90 days late. People worried about defaulting can explore income-based repayment, deferment, forbearance, consolidation, or refinancing. The DOE says borrowers can contact its default resolution group to learn options, including a rehabilitation process to restore status. For today's viewer poll, we're asking, what would help you most with student loan debt? Lower monthly payments, more time before collections resume, loan forgiveness, better information about options, or I don't have student loans. Overwhelmingly, 69% of our voters say they don't have student loans. We thank all of our voters for voting. Go to crossroadstoday.com/vote. We'll have another look at the results on 25 News Now at 10. President Trump says he wants to reopen Alcatraz to house, quote, America's most ruthless and violent offenders, unquote. He posted the idea online Sunday, then later called it, quote, just an idea, in response to what he claims are, in his words, radicalized judges protecting migrants. The White House says talks with the Justice Department are underway. Alcatraz closed in 1963 and now operates as a national park, drawing over 1 million visitors a year. Democrat Nancy Pelosi, who represents that area, called the proposal not serious. President Trump wants to extend his trade war to the cinema. Sunday, the president announced he wants a tariff on foreign movies imported to the U.S. The 100% tariff would include all films coming to the U.S. that were produced outside the United States. Films are not goods, they are intellectual property, so they represent a kind of service that is not currently subject to tariffs. Trump said he wants to boost California's filmmaking industry, where production has fallen in favor of overseas movie shoots. The president said he plans to meet with U.S. industry leaders to talk about his plan. A local filmmaker is making national headlines once again. Anthony Padone is a member of the production team behind An American Bombing. This is the second news and documentary Emmy nomination from the team at Blowback Productions. The historical documentary, nominated in the Best Historical Documentary category, recreates the chilling journey of Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh, complete with a 1989 Isuzu modified to match his infamous getaway car. The documentary is currently streaming on Max. Graduation season is here, and we want to help you celebrate the class of 2025. Submit a photo and heartfelt message for your grad through June 13th. We'll feature them on air and on social media. Visit our contest page on our website, crossroadstoday.com. Click the Entertainment tab, select Contest, submit, and show your pride. Just a heads up, we cannot accept professional photos. Just saw State Representative A.J. Louderback speaking there. He just introduced the other new law that he's trying to go through. This is State Bill 2361 Amendment 1. So maybe the next one will be the other one that he has put forth in front of the Texas House, and that would be the UHV move to the Texas A&M University system. We'll try and give you updates as we can. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. Air travel safety concerns grow as staffing shortages and outdated equipment cause delays nationwide. What it means for your next flight, coming up on 25 News Now at 6. Plus, Mother's Day is almost here. See what's trending for gifts and how to make the day special without breaking the bank. The Army is stopping some helicopter flights to the Pentagon while it investigates a close call that forced two planes at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport to abort landings. It happened Thursday. A Black Hawk helicopter was following Pentagon Tower instructions, but a preliminary FAA report says it took a scenic route instead of a direct path. Two commercial planes were ordered to circle and try again to avoid getting too close. Helicopters near the airport caused a January mid-air collision that killed 67 people. One of the busiest air travel hubs in the nation is in its second week of mounting delays and cancellations. FlightAware tracked hundreds of impacted flights over the weekend, and Monday travel is plagued with the same, sending ripple effects throughout the aviation system. One major carrier is taking route scheduling matters into its own hands, while the Transportation Secretary tries to reassure frustrated flyers that better days are ahead.
This is bureaucracy at its worst.
Hundreds of delays and cancellations are filling the notification boards at Newark Liberty International Airport for an unparalleled 8th day.
I'm concerned every time I fly.
These problems have been going on not just for years, but for decades.
United CEO Scott Kirby echoes the concerns of the Transportation Department's former Inspector General Mary Shivo, recently calling Newark's air traffic control facility, quote, chronically understaffed for years, compounded by last week's walkout that he said saw 20% of the airport's controllers leave. United now says it's canceling 35 flights out of Newark every day, saying in a statement that Newark Airport cannot handle the number of planes scheduled to operate there in the weeks and months ahead.
He's trying to say we can't continue to rely on the FAA, which is a huge thing to say.
A former Federal Aviation Administration safety inspector agrees air traffic controllers are at a breaking point.
They've been working 60-hour weeks for years and years.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy cites a runway construction closure and outdated equipment failures as part of Newark's current operational struggles, but adds big changes are coming.
We're going to lay fiber, we're going to get new radar, there are new radios, new ground sensors, the equipment that is facing the controllers to all the back end equipment.
We have 500 plus airports in the United States. They have different equipment. So it's not the same system wherever you go. Secretary Duffy has to do this, but it will take years.
Time that many anxious air travelers don't have.
Have a lot of travel coming up, so hopefully they can resolve this quickly.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
The Union for Air Traffic Controllers is pushing back on United's CEO, who suggested controllers walked off the job. The union says controllers at Newark lost radar and radio contact with planes on April 28th, and some later took leave under a federal program for traumatic on-the-job events. This comes as the government starts enforcing real ID requirements. That's starting Wednesday. Domestic passengers will need a driver's license with a star or a passport to fly. One of Pope Francis's Pope-mobiles will become a mobile health care unit for children in the Gaza Strip. The Vatican's official media says the transformation of the Pope-mobile was one of the late pontiff's final wishes. The vehicle was used during his 2014 visit to the Holy Land. It is now being outfitted with medical equipment for diagnosis, examination, and treatment of children in the war-torn enclave. It will be sent to Gaza once safe access is feasible. Pope Francis had often called for a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war. Mother's Day is right around the corner, and industry analysts say the average person marking the day plans to spend more than $250 this year on gifts. In today's Consumer Watch, details on the most popular items to show mom just how much you love her.
Happy Mother's Day! When it comes to celebrating mom, consumers are shelling out.
Consumers spend, on average, for Mother's Day more than any other holiday except the winter holidays.
Catherine Cullen with the National Retail Federation says Mother's Day spending is expected to top $34 billion this year, with people celebrating spending an average of $259. That's around $5 more per person than last year.
They want to celebrate the moms and other mother figures in their lives.
According to the NRF's recent survey, the most popular gifts this year for mom: flowers, greeting cards, outings like brunch or dinner, clothing, and jewelry.
There are lots of ways consumers can save, and also ways that they can create a meaningful memory with mom through a gifted experience.
Other options that can help keep down the cost: a picnic, movie night at home, or a homemade craft.
The key is spending time together and something that's a little different for her.
Colin also says some retailers are rolling out sales ahead of Mother's Day to help shoppers save. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Okay, let's take a look on the outside. This is a live view from the Victoria College weather cam here in South Part of town. The rain falling there. You can see it pretty good. In the distance there, more cloud cover. Temperature currently 77 degrees and pretty much staying like that coming up for the next several hours. Rain chances tomorrow. They're back again. I'll give you the details coming up next in your forecast. Good evening, everyone. It's been a rather wet day throughout the crossroads and continue to see some rain falling in the area currently. Beginning to wind down a little bit of redevelopment in Victoria County just south of town and near Mission Valley. You see right there. And it's gradually moving to the east, giving us a pretty quiet night in the overnight. There could be a few rain showers around in the overnight. Revving up again tomorrow as we have another severe weather threat. Small threat, but it's a threat nonetheless. And for today, it's pretty much lived up to what was expected. Severe weather risks, isolated risks north of Victoria, including Hallettsville area and Wharton and also Jackson counties. That's pretty much where the activity is now. Moving toward Houston area. This is a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for the Houston-Galveston area, which does include Matagorda County, Colorado, and Wharton counties. But tomorrow we're looking ahead at that. Marginal risk of severe weather for all of the crossroads region you see right here in the green color. That's a small risk, yes, but it's a risk nonetheless, so we need to keep our heads up about the weather tomorrow. We'll keep you informed as we go throughout the day. Future tracker, the rest of the precipitation still kind of lingering around here and there, especially in our eastern counties. Could be a few coming off the Gulf, coming up in the overnight tonight, so keep that rain chance in. And as we get through your day on your Tuesday, pretty much expands in coverage overall, pretty widespread overall as well. And some of these could be on the severe side, beginning to wind down a little bit as we head toward the second half of the day on your Tuesday. Could be another big storm coming through by this time tomorrow around the crossroads region. And that includes also the conditions on Wednesday. Then a front will move through, push this all to the east, and give us some good weather toward the end of the week. So we're looking forward to that. A little bit cooler as well. We'll just have to get to that point as we go through time. Starting off in the 60s by earlier this morning. Of course, we were in the 80s today, upper 70s or 80 degrees. Then we'll cool off again in the overnight to the 70s or so. The cloud cover and the humidity in place, not calling the temperature too much more than it is right now. And near 80 degrees for your day, high temperature for your day tomorrow, even though we have cloud cover in the region, so still on the warm and humid side, no doubt about it. Victoria, cloudy skies for your day tomorrow, scattered rain showers and storms. Some could be heavy, so watch weather developments here and there, kind of scattered at that. But there may be some peaks of sun a little bit in the area. High temperatures in the low to mid 80s. Quirrell, same thing. Scattered rain shower chances throughout the entire day. High temperatures in the mid 80s or so. And Port Lavaca, breeze off the bay. keeping the temperatures in the 80s for the daytime high after 70s in the overnight. With the gusty winds, definitely seeing that at times, and a rain shower chance, a thunderstorm chance still exists throughout the day today and tomorrow and right on through Wednesday for this severe weather threat. Small risk, where there's a risk nonetheless. We have for Tuesday and Wednesday have alert days of both days. Maybe some lingering rain showers on Thursday. Then it clears out and cools down a little bit on maybe low temperatures in the 50s coming up for the weekend. Looking forward to that. But just be weather aware coming up tomorrow and Wednesday. For the risk of severe weather, small risk, but there's a risk nonetheless. We'll keep you informed as you go through the next couple of days, of course. But be weather aware, be the smart thing to do. Another smart thing to do is download our app by scanning the QR code you see right there on our screen. Take that and scan that app right there on your phone. And then you download our app, News, Weather, and Sports at your fingertips. Easy, convenient to have on your phone. Be connected with us. Everything you need to know about sports, also weather and news, right there at the palm of your hand. Speaking of sports, we'll get to that after we talk to Don.
All right, thank you, Trey. And Ray Robinson is here. He's talking about nothing but playoffs.
That's right, Don. We hear from Goliad baseball head Coach Q after sweeping Columbus in the first round of the playoffs. See what he has and more coming up in sports. We're getting ready for the second round of the playoffs for some high school baseball. The #1 ranked team in their district being the Goliad Tigers swept Columbus this past weekend. Goliad baseball head Coach Q, with the direction of Coach Q, I was able to discuss with him and caught up with him today at their practice.
So defensive approach and defensive mindset was on point, for that series. And it showed up big, not only with the pitching, but, the defensive plays by the other guys around them. Hondo's going to be a solid ball club. I mean, they're going to be fundamentally sound. They're going to do little things right. They're going to try to put the ball in play, whether it's small ball or hitting the ball. They're going to try to put pressure on our defense. So hopefully, our defense can continue to stay strong and produce outs for us.
Thank you, Coach Q. Goliad's next opponent will be against Hondo in the second round. The action will be back in Seguin. The date and time have yet to be announced, but as always, make sure you stay tuned here on KAVU, where myself or Max will keep you guys updated. In Crossroads, let's talk about some softball teams that are in the midst of their postseason. Starting off with our St. Joseph Lady Flyers. The Flyers will be on the road to Columbus to battle Cypress Christian in the second round. Best of luck to them. State contender in the Shiner Lady Comanches captured their area championship over the weekend. They took on Falls City and winning their series in a sweep. Both games saw the Lady Comanches hit double digits in runs across the board, the biggest being in their first game, which was the final score in that one, 13-6. And on to DeWitt County as the Yoakum Lady Bulldogs are advancing to the regional semis as the champions of their respected area. They beat Hondo in their last game of the series. Final score, 14-0. In Crossroads, we continue bringing out the brooms for our softball teams as the Tidehaven Tigerettes sweep to capture their area championship as well, beating Cotulla at Kennedy High School this past weekend. The Tigerettes are also reaching double digits in both games. The last game of the series, Tidehaven won it easily in convincing fashion. Final score, 12-1. And the Ganado Maidens, a team that's turning a lot of heads with their play on the field, is taking their next step in the postseason. They sweep Three Rivers this past weekend. Game 1 saw the Maidens make a big statement, winning at final score 14-4. They will prepare to take on Thorndale. And unfortunately, we've reached the end of the season for the Houston Rockets, but one thing's for sure when talking about this current iteration of the Rockets is that they won't go down without a fight. And they were down as much as 3-1, and they brought a Game 7 back to Houston. And unfortunately, the duo of Stephen Curry and surprisingly Buddy Hield combining for 55 points, where 33 of those points came from Buddy Hield, a former Oklahoma guy. But what can you say? But there's still plenty to be proud for if you're a Houston Rockets fan, especially after hearing this from head coach Ime Udoka.
You look at big picture, the growth that we made. We just said no moral victories or whatever. We could be much more consistent, but getting to the 2 seed and 50 whatever wins and the growth that guys have showed, kind of have a blueprint for where we want to be, and that's the standard on a year-to-year basis. But
all right, now barring any wild scenarios in the offseason, I think it's safe to say that the Houston Rockets will be back in the playoffs next year. Don, what you think?
I think you're right, Ray. Maybe the Rockets will go for a big-time scorer, a veteran scorer. I'm just going to throw a name out here. Kevin Durant. All right. Thank you, Ray, and we're back in a moment. A U.S. Olympic swimming champion gets good news after his medals were destroyed during the Los Angeles wildfires. Finally, this is a great story. Olympic swimming champion Gary Hall Jr. received replicas of his 10 Olympic medals that were destroyed during the Los Angeles wildfires. The medals were presented to him by International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach during a ceremony in Lausanne, Switzerland. Hall represented the U.S. at the 1996, 2000, and 2004 Olympics, winning 5 gold, 3 silver, and 2 bronze medals in Atlanta, Sydney, and Athens. The 50-year-old was forced to leave the medals behind at his Pacific Palisades home during the fires. By the way, his father, Gary Hall Sr., was an Olympic gold medalist in swimming too. So I was going to say, tradition runs in that family. I guess it swims in that family.
I was thinking that same thing.
They have a great pool of resources there. All right, we're looking ahead a little bit here, Trey, to see what we have as far as rain coming down the pike.
Well, we have some rain lingering for a few hours and it'll be quieting down in the overnight. Starting up again for your day tomorrow, there's a slight marginal risk of severe weather for your day tomorrow, so heads up about that. Be weather aware. That goes for Tuesday and Wednesday, so be weather aware both those days. Winding down by Thursday, front moves through. Then we have nice conditions toward the end of the week. The lows, a little bit of breath of cool air, and the overnights in the 50s coming up for the weekend.
What time would the storms hit tomorrow? What's your forecast?
Starting about like 9:30 or 10 a.m., probably along the coast, as we work throughout the rest of the day when the atmosphere heats up, moving in west to east across the area.
All right. Thank you for that, Trey, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you tonight for 25 News Now at 10. Have a good one, everybody.